What's up, everybody? My name is Kristen, aka Black Cherry. I'm back at it again, here sitting on my floor in my costume, Morticia Addams, because she is my muse, and just really kind of bummed out that finally we get a Halloween that lasts or sits on a Saturday. And of course, with current rises of disease, virus stuff, um, kind of locked down in our in my house, just like everyone else. So I was just thinking, what are some good ways to kind of enjoy the pastime of Halloween instead of sitting here staring out the window, wishing that I could go to at least some Halloween party or at least hand out some candy. Well, I thought, and I thought, and I thought, and then I started watching YouTube, looking at all the best horror films or upcoming horror films that are coming out in 2020, and I'm just like, hey, that's a good idea. But I'd rather do something a little more realistic. I'd rather talk about the worst Halloween films that I have ever seen on Halloween or even remotely related to Halloween. So that's what I'm going to do with this video. Feel free, or more so, feel free to take my opinions with a grain of salt. Like I said, they are opinions and they really don't matter much. These are just my ideas, um, especially when it comes to Halloween films. So let's get to it. All right. So, Halloween film or worst Halloween film that I've ever seen on Halloween, number one, The Terrifier. Now, if you haven't seen The Terrifier, I can give you a pretty quick synopsis of what it's about. The Terrifier is about a maniacal clown that terrorizes three young women and anyone else in his way on Halloween night. And that's it. No, seriously, that's it. That's literally what it says on the Wikipedia description of the film, and with good reason as well. The whole film in general has no discernible plot. Matter of fact, it's pretty unapologetic about it. The characters die just as quickly as they are introduced. Matter of fact, no one's really likable because you really don't get the chance to like anyone because they end up dying too fast in the film. I would say the kill count on on the Terrifier isn't really all that high, although it's quite frequent. I would say it has a high frequency. As soon as you see someone, either someone's getting cut up, chopped up, or eaten up. And yes, I mean eaten up because literally the last character gets her face chewed off. I was actually pretty surprised that the film had such a high review. It got like a 5 out of 10 on IMDb, which makes the film about average. And the constant themes that I saw on those really good reviews was it was, I don't know, how do they put it? It was great ambiance. They loved the film and how it looked. And I can only attest to that dark places filmed in the dark of night make for a visually effective ambiance, I suppose. Or so you thought. Honestly, the film looks pretty grainy, is trying really hard to be a 1980s slasher film. So if you like a clown, like a clown that likes to cut up people and really be kind of disgusting about it, and you don't really care so much of a plot, you just like girls being chopped up, I would recommend this film for you. It's not my cup of tea. I'll just stick with it. Okay, so the second worst Halloween film that I have seen, or even remotely related to a scary movie, is The Nun. Oh, The Nun. So much potential. I can only say that all that glitters is not gold. And here's what I mean. Aside from giving us Bathsheba, the crooked man, and Annabelle, Valak the demon nun was supposed to be our golden villain, leading us into another continuity within the Conjuring universe. Everyone loved the Conjuring 1. Conjuring 2 wasn't as good, but when they showed the demon being thrown about the whole movie with Pastor Burke and his dead demon boy, and Miss Irene, who has or is on her novitiate, I think it's called it a novitiate, where she is on her journey determining whether nunnery is where she wants to be or what she wants to do for the rest of her life. And quite frankly, considering all that was happening to her, I don't know if I would take that plea. Anyway, it's wrapped. You get this whole loose storytelling wrapped in some shady logic, and I mean shady logic. So you're telling me that the literal blood of Jesus was not enough to stop Valak from possessing this guy, Frenchie. I can see why Miss Irene might be a little hesitant to be a full-time nun. Frenchie is fine. Anyway, to possess this guy and on what would soon to be, or what you would soon see to be on Conjuring 1, when they actually videotape this man being possessed. And Lorraine freaks out because she has visions coming from Valak. And please don't tell me that this is about some weird plot armor. Like, that doesn't work in this one. That somehow is still able to possess poor old Frenchie over there. I'm just saying, if you're going to be shoddy with the main villain in a movie, might as well just leave it alone as a lore. I think Valak was more scary in just The Conjuring than rather having her own movie. It's kind of this whole thing of the more that I saw her, the less interested I got. So that's my opinion. Okay, so the third worst film that I've seen on Halloween, in my opinion, is the Blair Witch Project. No, don't come at me with knives and forks. This is, again, my opinion. The Blair Witch Project, and I'm talking about the 1999 one, not the new one. The new one was just trash in general. I'm talking about the 1999 one. So I'm gonna start off with the good points here. Uh, it was really kind of the first of its kind to do sort of a realistic view of storytelling, and I mean found footage storytelling. Times, right? It was so good that very realistic. They even had missing sign posters around the movie theater and in showings of the film. So it really got people confused on whether or not this was an actual thing or not. Fast forward to future time. We all know that it's not real, and quite frankly, I don't think this film aged very well. If you really look at the film, nothing actually happened. The jerky camera movements kind of make it hard to pinpoint on what you're supposed to pay attention to, and it's just a bunch of running around. Technically, the film just ends up being a story about three dumb people going into the woods and somehow losing the map. How do you lose a map in the middle of the woods? and just a bunch of running and yelling about something that you can't see. I guess that kind of adds to the film that you can't see the actual monster or what's actually happened in the film, but at the same time, it kind of gets a little boring because I'm just like, is there an actual monster or not? And then essentially, it just cuts off. And I think what I really don't like about the film is the fact that it jerks so much. It gave me motion sickness. All right, the fourth film that I think is probably not such a good film to watch on Halloween is Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Now, Scary Stories brings back so many memories. It's literally like Goosebumps, but for adults. Well, except Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark was actually a kid's book. Uh, Matter of fact, it got banned or is on the controversy of being banned from school libraries because people say that it's too violent. My only retort to that is, have you ever read a series of unfortunate events or Percy Jackson, the Lightning Thief? There's a lot of violence in there too. So, what's the point? Anyway, how I put it is that Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark was a great book, one of the first books to introduce me into horror and a lot of kids as well. The movie missed the mark. I I should say, like most book adapted movies, it kind of fell short of captivating the audience and what the story was actually about and keeping up with that lore, I would say. Now, the monsters in general, like the Pale Woman and Harold the Scarecrow, and even the Jangly Man, was just awesome. I say the cinematic features on this film was great. You felt that that's what they looked like, and if you ever read Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, you know that they did a very good job at depicting those spirits slash monsters. However, the story surrounding the whole thing was a bit lackluster. The character development was kind of limited, I would say. I mean, you had a bunch of kids, one AWOL uh, kid that was supposed to be in the war, supposed to be going to the war, and I don't know, I forgot her name, Stella, I believe. I mean, they're all in here going into haunted houses. They find a book. They're sitting there trying to stop the book from writing more stories in the future. And they end up losing two of their friends in the process. And then it kind of ends there. Uh, Stella seems to have made peace with said ghost, the Bellows girl. And she is trying to find her friends now that were taken by these monsters. Somehow, like I say, if you are new to horror, this film is perfect to kind of get you a little bit of taste with the typical jump scares, typical ambiance, and kind of loose fitting storytelling that you see in a lot of horror films lately, but different continuities in each with their own storyline. I mean, seriously, like Laurie has died and resurrected at least 3 times. Either Michael is or isn't her big sister. We don't really know at this point anymore. Like the general consensus is that yes, he's her older brother, but that wasn't the original storyline. And then there's either Michael is some sort of superhuman because of his lack of empathy and the fact that he's insane, or his body is just being wielded by some mystical curse or whatever that requires him to kill his entire family for whatever reason. I don't know. It doesn't make sense. Nobody really knows, but what we all do know is that Halloween 3 has nothing to do with any of those stories at all. Matter of fact, Michael and Laurie don't even exist in this film. It's like never happened. Like 1 and 2 just never happened. Halloween 1 and 2 never happened. So the story goes is that this doctor is trying to stop this man named Cochran from releasing the age of the witch upon the universe by ritualistically sacrificing children who wear his mask, because I guess he's a mask maker, and he somehow has embedded like Stonehenge or some sort of mystical power. And when his commercial comes on All Halloween's night, the mask give the kids brain damage and then they combust with insects, therefore releasing the season of the witch. I don't know. It really doesn't make sense. Matter of fact, I think this film was probably on the cusp of ruining Halloween, the universe in general, because it just literally didn't make any sense. Matter of fact, it was so bad that Halloween 4 decided to just start from where Halloween 2 ended. So, completely disregarding whatever the heck happened in Halloween 3. It's like it never existed. So, I mean, yeah. Even Halloween universe was like, nah, this ain't it. So that's it, everyone. Those are my top five horror films that I personally wouldn't watch on Halloween due to the fact that I don't think they're all that interesting, nor do they make sense. Like I said, these are just opinions. You are more than welcome to watch these films and thoroughly enjoy them if you so choose to. However, I have warned you. Anyway, I hope everyone has a really wonderful Halloween, a safe Halloween, and I wish you all a haunting night. Bye.